Dreams demand discipline. Everyone wants the dream. Very few want the discipline. But the truth is simple. Dreams are not granted. They are earned through discipline. Without it, your desire is just a fantasy floating in your mind. Your dream, no matter how beautiful, is meaningless without the grit to bring it to life. You can have the vision. You can see the house, the car, the career, the legacy. But if you don't have the discipline to show up every day, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one's clapping, you will stay right where you are. No applause is owed to you for dreaming. The world only pays attention to results. Discipline is the force that separates the average from the elite. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not connections. It's the commitment to do what must be done when it must be done, no matter how you feel. You either control your emotions, or your emotions control your destiny. You either dominate your time, or your time disappears into distraction. Understand this. The path to your dream is not built in a moment of inspiration. It is built in the early mornings you rise when you'd rather sleep, in the nights you work when others are relaxing, in the meals you skip, the comforts you delay, the temptations you reject. Every act of discipline is an act of loyalty to your future. There is no breakthrough without burden. You want freedom? Pay for it with structure. You want success? Pay for it with sacrifice. Stop expecting rewards for wishes. Success is attracted to discipline like fire to oxygen. The more consistent your discipline, the stronger your flame. You don't need more motivation. You need rules you live by. Motivation fades. Discipline is permanent. Discipline is when you show up on the days you don't feel like it. Discipline is when you silence the voice in your head begging for comfort and push anyway. Discipline is a war against your lower self. And every time you choose discipline, you win that war. Ask yourself, are your habits aligned with your dream? If not, you are lying to yourself. You say you want it, but you don't act like it. That's not ambition. That's self-deception. Goals don't matter unless they are backed by behavior. A man who wants the throne must act like a king in training, not a beggar of wishes. Discipline builds momentum, and momentum builds dominance. 1 focused hour repeated every day beats 10 chaotic hours once a week. Forget trying to do it all in one leap. Master the small things, and they compound into giants. The man who trains daily in silence becomes the man the world cannot ignore. Look around. Most people are distracted. Most people are soft. Most people are entertained. If you can become disciplined, you are already dangerous. You are already ahead, because while they're scrolling, you're studying. While they're quitting, you're grinding. While they're complaining, you're executing. Discipline is lonely, but that's the price of elevation. You will lose friends. You will lose comfort. You will lose approval. But you will gain power. You will gain direction. You will gain a life that others admire but were too weak to build. And that's the truth. Every champion was once a disciplined nobody. A man who refused to quit. A woman who refused to compromise. A person who held the line when everything in them wanted to fold. You want greatness? Then bleed for it, sweat for it, rise for it again and again and again until your dream has no choice but to kneel before your will. There is no other path. No shortcuts, no hacks, only discipline. If you master that, you master everything. A dream without discipline is a delusion. It feels powerful to dream, to imagine a life of success, wealth, recognition, and purpose. But that feeling is cheap without action. Discipline is the price you pay for what you want. Without it, your dreams are just hallucinations, pictures in your head with no substance, no foundation, and no future. Discipline is not optional if you want to win. It's not something you do when it's convenient. It is the standard, the foundation, the contract you sign with yourself every single day to become the person your dream demands. And if you don't sign that contract with your effort, your comfort will kill your potential. No one is coming to remind you to work. No one is responsible for keeping your fire lit. That job is yours. And the longer you wait for motivation to strike, the longer your dreams sit in limbo while someone with less talent and more discipline beats you to it. The world doesn't reward what you say you want. It rewards what you prove you're willing to endure. Dreams are glamorous, discipline is not. Dreams are fun to talk about. Discipline is silent. Dreams are free. Discipline is expensive. And yet, only one of them will change your life. It's easy to get excited in the beginning. Everyone is fired up on day 1. But what separates the winners is how they act on day 20, on day 100, on the days when it's raining, when they're tired, when they failed, when no one's watching, and when quitting whispers louder than ever. That's where dreams go to die or get born. Discipline doesn't make excuses. It doesn't argue. It doesn't wait. It executes. It understands that your feelings don't matter. Only your focus does. If you let your emotions drive your effort, your results will stay weak forever. You'll be busy but not effective. You'll be moving but not advancing. Real discipline is brutal. It cuts out distractions. It rejects comfort. It ignores popularity. It's the voice that says, get up, when every part of you says, stay down. It tells you to keep moving forward even after failure, rejection, embarrassment, and pain. Because discipline isn't built in success. It's forged in struggle. The most disciplined people are not the most talented. They are the most consistent. They don't rise to greatness on feeling. They rise on principle. They work when it's hard. They stay when it's uncomfortable. They sacrifice the short-term pleasures that poison long-term progress. That's what discipline does. It forces your life to move forward even when it doesn't feel good, even when it's slow, even when no one else understands. And if you really want something, you'll build the discipline to match it. Because a big dream without big discipline is a joke. How dare you expect to live your dream life without paying the full price in effort, in time, in pain, in sacrifice? If you can't keep promises to yourself, you can't keep success. If you keep choosing what's easy, you're choosing a small life. There is no destiny without discipline. There is no success without structure. There's no freedom without self-control. You can't own your dream until you own your choices. Every decision you make either builds your future or buries it. And every time you hit snooze, skip the gym, delay the work, avoid the discomfort, you are telling your dream that it can wait. And eventually it will disappear. Discipline builds identity. You begin to trust yourself. You no longer need hype. You don't beg for validation. You walk in power because you've proven to yourself that you are reliable. You are responsible. You are not a slave to the world's noise. You are not waiting for permission to improve. You are building in silence. Every rep, every hour, every hard decision, every lonely night becomes your foundation. When others are sleeping, you're working. When others are doubting, you're training. When others are quitting, you're adapting. Discipline turns ordinary into unstoppable. And that transformation isn't loud. It's relentless. It's in your routine. It's in how you speak to yourself. It's in how you show up when no one else does. You want greatness? Then live like someone who deserves it, not once in a while, every single day, no matter what. No dream will survive inconsistency. No vision will come true without endurance. You don't need more inspiration, you need more discipline. You need to become the person who does the hard things without applause, who keeps going without recognition, who pushes without being pushed. That's who wins. That's who builds a legacy. That's who breaks the cycle. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to be the fastest. But if you are the most disciplined, you will outlast them all, because talent burns out, motivation fades. But discipline stays. Discipline is the final word when everything else has failed. Discipline is the truth when excuses sound convincing. Discipline is the reason you will look back and say, I did it, while everyone else says, I almost did. And that difference is everything. Discipline is the bridge between imagination and execution. Ideas are everywhere. Everyone has them. Everyone dreams of a better body, a stronger bank account, a bigger life. But without discipline, those ideas are trapped in your mind, screaming to get out, rotting with every day you fail to act. Your imagination can show you who you could become, but only discipline will drag that version of you out of the clouds and into reality. Without it, your imagination becomes your prison. You keep seeing the life you want, but never getting close to it. The difference between who you are and who you could be is what you're willing to do when the excitement fades and only the work remains. Anyone can dream. The disciplined execute. There is no success without execution, and execution lives and dies on discipline. It's not about how much you want it. It's about how much you're willing to grind when you don't want to. Discipline doesn't wait for the right time. It doesn't depend on inspiration. It doesn't need approval. Discipline wakes you up early when comfort says sleep in. Discipline puts your phone down when distraction says scroll. Discipline makes you show up when nobody's watching and nobody's clapping. That's where real change begins. In the quiet moments, in the lonely effort, in the decision to stay focused when everything around you is begging for your attention. Discipline chooses progress over pleasure. Discipline doesn't ask for results, it demands them. You say you want a better life, then your actions must align. Imagination is a vision, execution is the journey, discipline is the fuel. Without it, your vision fades into regret. With it, your life transforms into a weapon. Discipline makes you dangerous, because once you master your habits build your future. Once you own your routine shapes your reality. And that's the difference between the people who talk and the people who win. The talkers imagine. The winners do. The world respects those who execute. Nobody applauds potential. They only respect proof. Discipline is proof that you're serious. It's not about working hard when you feel like it. It's about doing it no matter what. The ones who keep their word to themselves even when it's hard are the ones who succeed. You can have all the ambition in the world, but without structure it means nothing. Dreams die in chaos, goals crumble without consistency, and the ones who lose aren't weak, they're just undisciplined. Discipline protects your mind from distraction. It builds a fortress around your purpose. It forces you to choose what matters over what's easy. Every time you say no to temptation, every time you walk past excuses, every time you choose the grind over comfort, you are proving to the world, and more importantly to yourself, that you are unstoppable. And once you believe that, once you live that, there is nothing that can hold you down. Discipline is rare because it hurts. It requires sacrifice. It demands your pride, your time, your energy, and sometimes your relationships. But what it gives back is priceless. It gives you direction. It gives you power. It gives you control over your destiny. Everyone wants the reward, but only a few are willing to endure the process. Discipline is the wall between them. If you won't climb it, you don't get what's on the other side. Every day you delay is a day you drift further from your dream. Every excuse is a crack in your foundation. Every act of laziness is a betrayal to your future. And once you understand that, once you take it personally, you'll start showing up like someone who's serious about their life. You don't need more time. You need more focus. You don't need more motivation. You need more discipline. Because motivation is loud and temporary. Discipline is quiet and permanent. Motivation shows up on day 1. Discipline is still there on day 100. Motivation is hype. Discipline is habit. And the truth is, you already know what to do. You already know what's required. You're just waiting for it to feel good. But that feeling may never come. And if it does, it won't stay. So you either wait forever or you build the discipline to move without it. The discipline don't care how they feel. They care what gets done. They care about the mission. And every step they take, no matter how small, is another brick laid toward that mission. Every time you choose discipline, you get stronger. Every time you follow through, you get closer. Every time you show up, you build momentum. And once momentum is on your side, the world feels different. You move different. You think different. You stop looking for validation. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop depending on talent. You lean fully into effort. And when that happens, the life you imagine isn't just a fantasy anymore. It's your reality. Not because you were lucky. Not because someone gave you a break. But because you chose to do the work. Because you chose discipline when everyone else was choosing ease. Because you executed while they hesitated. And now the difference is clear. Now the results are undeniable. And that's the power of living with discipline. Success bows only to those who are consistent. Not to the loudest voice in the room. Not to the most gifted. Not to those who start strong but disappear when the excitement fades. Success doesn't recognize potential alone. It kneels before persistence. You can have every advantage, every talent, every opportunity in front of you, but if you are not consistent, you will lose to the one who shows up daily, regardless of how they feel. Consistency is the hidden power behind every great achievement. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing what matters, again and again, until it becomes who you are. Without consistency, your goals are just guesses, your vision just noise, and your promise to yourself just another broken lie. The world is full of people who had what it took, but they quit. They started with passion. They dreamed big. They had momentum. But they didn't stay in motion. They thought doing it once was enough. They thought showing up occasionally would eventually lead them to greatness. But life doesn't reward occasional effort. It rewards relentless discipline. Success doesn't care what you did last week. It cares what you're doing now. It's not about one big push. It's about countless small steps, repeated, relentlessly, even when no one claps, even when no one sees, even when you feel like it's not working. Because consistency is belief in action. It's your way of saying, I'm not just interested, I'm committed. Success belongs to those who stay in the game longer than others are willing to. Those who understand that results don't show up right away. Growth is silent. Progress is invisible in the beginning. But every day you stay consistent, you are planting seeds others will never see. You are building a life that doesn't beg for validation because it's too focused on the mission. Consistency means doing the work when it's hard, not just when it's convenient. It means becoming the person who trains when they're tired, reads when they're bored, works when they're discouraged, and moves forward when everyone else is standing still. Every master was once average. Every elite performer started unknown. What made the difference was their refusal to quit, their ability to repeat the same habits, the same disciplines, the same routines over and over, until excellence became their standard. Success is not a lightning strike, it's a slow burn. You don't see the fire at first, you don't feel the heat, but when you stay consistent, day by day, that burn turns into an inferno that consumes every excuse and fear in its path. Consistency is the secret ingredient most people ignore. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it works. You'll never be great at anything until you're consistent with something. Too many chase novelty instead of mastery. They quit the moment it gets boring. They pivot the second progress slows. But consistency doesn't care if it's fun. Consistency is about discipline, and discipline is about choosing your future over your feelings. That's the difference between being interested and being obsessed. The obsessed repeat the process. They trust the process. They live the process. Because they understand that every day matters, every repetition counts, every moment you act with purpose compounds into power. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits, and your habits are born in your consistency. Look at your results. Do they reflect your potential or your discipline? If you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. If you're tired of being stuck, stop pausing. If you're tired of waiting, start showing up, not for a day, not for a week, but for as long as it takes. That's how success respects you. That's when it starts to move toward you. Not when you chase it randomly, but when you demand it consistently. The greatest advantage you can create is consistency in a world full of chaos. While others waste time, you build it. While others break promises, you keep them. While others wait for the perfect moment, you act in imperfect ones. While others give up, you press on. And with every day you stay the course, you build momentum. And momentum is magic. It multiplies effort. It multiplies focus. It multiplies confidence. Suddenly, what felt impossible months ago becomes automatic. What once scared you becomes your new standard. But none of that happens if you don't stay consistent long enough for the breakthrough to catch up. No one's watching in the beginning. No one applauds consistency. There's no recognition when you wake up early or when you grind late. But those silent victories are what build unstoppable character. They are the proof that you are no longer hoping for success. You are preparing for it. The world cannot deny someone who refuses to go away. It cannot ignore someone who shows up again and again with the same fire, the same focus, the same hunger. And if you can become that person, you become inevitable. You become the one who lasts, the one who rises, the one success cannot help but respect. Your habits decide your future, not your wishes, not your luck, not your background. Every result in your life is a reflection of what you do daily, not what you say occasionally. Habits are the invisible architects of success or failure. You don't get what you want, you get what you repeat. And every small action, every thought you entertain, every choice you make is casting a vote for the person you are becoming. If you want to predict your future, don't look at your goals. Look at your routines. Your future isn't something waiting to be discovered. It's something being built, one decision at a time, one habit at a time. People overestimate motivation and underestimate the brutal power of routine. Motivation fades, habits don't. When it's cold, habits still operate. When you're tired, habits still show up. When no one believes in you, habits still execute. That's why the successful build systems, not just dreams. Systems remove emotion. Habits create consistency, and consistency creates excellence. The difference between the average and the extraordinary is not in talent, it's in repetition. What you do once in a while means nothing. What you do every day means everything. You either train your habits, or your habits train you. There is no neutral. You are either climbing or sliding. Excellence is not an act. It's a habit. Every day you wake up and choose whether you're building discipline or building excuses, whether you're reinforcing strength or reinforcing weakness, whether you're becoming sharper or duller. Your habits are either preparing you for success or preventing you from ever reaching it. The most dangerous habits are the ones you think don't matter. Hitting snooze one more time, skipping one workout, wasting 1 hour, speaking one lie. Those things compound. Success is built on the small things. So is failure. You don't crash your life in a moment. You drift off course one lazy habit at a time until the consequences slap you awake. If you have big dreams, then you better have habits to match. You can't chase greatness with average behavior. You can't expect to rise while living like the rest. You don't get elite outcomes from casual effort. You get them from obsessed consistency, from the commitment to do what others won't, from holding yourself accountable when no one else is watching. If your habits aren't aligned with your goals are just empty talk. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you earn, and you earn it through your patterns. What you tolerate today becomes your identity. Tomorrow you want to change your life, change your habits. Nothing else will stick. If your daily choices don't shift, your results never will. The body you want, the business you dream of, the confidence you crave, it all begins with the decision to act differently, not once but always. That's why self-discipline is the greatest freedom. It gives you control. It hands you the power to shape the direction of your life instead of letting circumstances do it for you. Discipline is not punishment. It's permission to level up, and it's built by repeating better choices until they become automatic. Until they become who you are, you don't rise to your level of ambition. You fall to your level of practice, and your practice is defined by your habits. So ask yourself, what are you rehearsing every day? Are you rehearsing self-doubt or self-mastery? Are you practicing delay or discipline? Are your habits preparing you to lead or to follow? Every action is training. You are always becoming something. If you're not shaping your future intentionally, you're doing it accidentally. And the cost of unconscious habits is wasted potential. There's no greater regret than looking back and realizing you were the one in your own way all along. The truth is, success isn't found in big moments. It's hidden in the boring, repetitive, consistent habits no one sees. It's built when you decide to do the right thing even when no one's clapping. It's built in silence. It's built in solitude. It's built when you master the basics so relentlessly they become your advantage. While others chase hacks, the disciplined stay loyal to the work. While others skip steps, the committed build a foundation. And when the storm comes, the foundation holds. Because it was built by habit, not by hype. Your life today is the result of your habits yesterday, and your life tomorrow will reflect the ones you build now. You are not stuck. You are in the middle of a pattern. If you want to change the outcome, change the input. You don't need more time, you need more intention. You don't need permission, you need consistency. You don't need to be perfect, you need to be persistent. You are always one habit away from a different future. Every day is a vote. Every action is a brick. Keep building, keep repeating, keep refining. Your future is not written. It's rehearsed daily in the habits you choose to live. By discipline means doing it regardless of mood. It means you move without waiting for motivation, act without needing applause, and execute without the comfort of feeling ready. Mood is a trap. Mood is unstable, unreliable, easily swayed by exhaustion, doubt, or distraction. But discipline is your anchor. Discipline is the force that says, I said I would, and follows through even when every part of you wants to quit. When others back down, when others negotiate with their excuses, the discipline rise and deliver. Because they understand that greatness isn't found in how you feel. It's forged in what you do when you don't feel like doing anything at all. Champions are not made on their best days. They're made on the days they show up with tired eyes, sore muscles, and silent minds. They don't wait to be inspired. They don't require perfect conditions. They understand that success demands sacrifice, and sacrifice demands consistency without emotion. The disciplined treat their mission like a duty, not a mood-based decision. They don't confuse feelings with facts. They know their goals are bigger than their temporary emotions, so they act regardless. They get it done regardless, because the work isn't optional, the dream isn't negotiable, and the path is only walked by those who've trained themselves to perform under pressure. You want to change your life? Stop doing things only when it feels good. Start doing them because they are necessary. Start doing them because your future depends on it. The world doesn't care how motivated you are. It cares what you produce. It respects results, not reasons. Discipline makes you dangerous because it frees you from the emotional roller coaster most people are stuck on. While they ride highs and lows, you move straight ahead. While they start and stop, you stay consistent. That's how mountains are moved, not with bursts of energy, but with relentless pressure applied over time. Whether you feel like it or not, the undisciplined are slaves to comfort. They wait until they're in the mood to act, but moods lie. Moods delay. Moods betray progress. If you rely on mood, you will be stuck in cycles of starting strong and finishing weak. You will live your life in bursts, never sustaining long enough to break through. But discipline doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for a sign. It moves in silence. It moves with purpose. It moves because the vision is non-negotiable. And when the vision is non-negotiable, discipline becomes your default, not your option. It doesn't matter if you're tired. It doesn't matter if you're frustrated. It doesn't matter if you're uninspired. What matters is what you do. Every time you push through, you are reshaping your identity. You are training your mind to obey purpose, not preference. And that is the mark of a warrior. A warrior acts, a warrior commits, a warrior finishes. Not because it feels good, but because the mission demands it. Discipline means you show up when it's raining. You execute when it's boring. You grind when no one is clapping. You sharpen your edge every single day, because you know life only rewards the sharp discipline is the difference between a wish and a result. Everyone wants more. Everyone says they'll do it. But few make the decision to follow through when it gets hard, when the fire burns out, when the doubt creeps in. The disciplined don't rely on motivation. They build momentum. They stack wins. They show up on the hard days, and that's what separates them from the rest. That's why their habits hold, why their results stack, why their future bends in their favor. Because they don't negotiate with weakness. They don't listen to the inner voice that whispers delay. They crush it under the weight of execution. Every time you choose discipline over mood, you increase your power. You tell yourself, I control my life. And that belief, repeated enough times, becomes unshakable. You stop fearing hard work. You stop doubting your path. Because you're proving to yourself every day that you're built different. And people will notice. The ones who used to outshine you will wonder how you passed them. The ones who gave up will watch you rise. Not because you're more talented, but because you were more consistent. Because you understood the price and paid it daily. And success always honors those who pay the full price. Your emotions are temporary. Your dream is not. Your mood is a flicker. Your legacy is eternal. The way you live, the way you train, the way you show up, it all adds up. So do it anyway. Show up anyway. Execute anyway. Because every excuse you bury is one step closer to freedom. Every task you complete without the need for mood is one layer of strength added to your foundation. And one day, when the world sees your results, they won't see the struggle. They'll only see the standard. And that standard was built by doing it every single day, regardless of mood, sacrifice, comfort today to command greatness tomorrow. That is the law of progress. You cannot stay warm, idle, and entertained and expect to rise above mediocrity. Comfort is the enemy of growth. It whispers lies. It says you've done enough. It says you deserve to rest before the work is done. But those who lead, those who dominate, those who create legacies, they trade comfort for challenge. They give up temporary ease for permanent power. Greatness does not coexist with comfort. It lives on the other side of hard choices, early mornings, long nights, and total commitment, when others are too soft to keep going. You don't become strong by doing what feels good. You become strong by doing what's necessary. And what's necessary is often painful, inconvenient, and isolating. But every sacrifice you make sharpens your edge. Every time you choose effort over ease, you widen the gap between you and the average. Comfort tells you to relax, to delay, to settle. But that voice is a trap. It's a quiet killer. It wants you complacent. It wants you ordinary. And every time you give in, you fall further from who you were meant to become. Every time you resist, you take command of your destiny. Greatness does not belong to the comfortable. It belongs to the disciplined. The ones who endure boredom, the ones who master repetition, the ones who eat rejection for breakfast and chase the hard path because they know it leads to real transformation. It's not about intensity for one day. It's about intensity for a lifetime. Sacrificing comfort means saying no to what others indulge in. It means waking up when others sleep, studying when others scroll, grinding when others gossip. It means choosing purpose over pleasure again and again until that choice becomes your nature, not your burden. Comfort is where dreams die. It's where potential is buried. Every person with regrets will tell you they stayed comfortable too long. They waited for the right time. They waited until it was easy. They waited until they felt ready. But greatness isn't waiting for you. It's already in motion. And if you don't move with it, you'll be left behind wondering what could have been. If you want to command your future, you must first command yourself. And that starts with sacrificing who you are for who you must become. The comfort of today is cheap. Compared to the glory of tomorrow, you want the freedom, the power, the respect. Earn it. Pay in advance. Pay in full. Pay daily. Your dreams demand pain. They demand sweat. They demand lonely hours, difficult conversations, and relentless focus. No one gets a crown without the scars to match, and every scar will be worth it. Because when the world bows, when the rewards come, when you stand in the center of the life you built with your own discipline, you will not feel regret. You'll feel pride. Not because it was easy, but because it was hard and you conquered it anyway. Most people choose comfort and get neither peace nor progress. They wake up years later confused why they're stuck, why they're bitter, why they're envious. But those who chose discomfort, who embraced the grind, who sacrificed small pleasures for massive purpose, they live with fire in their eyes. They command respect. They live with options. They don't need to chase, they attract. Because greatness is magnetic to those who paid the price. The world doesn't reward the comfortable. It rewards the relentless. It honors those who were willing to suffer early so they could soar later. You don't get to feel like it every day. You won't always be excited, but that's irrelevant. What matters is whether you can move without feeling motivated. What matters is whether you can act without applause. What matters is whether you're willing to delay comfort to gain control. And if you are, nothing can stop you. The people who win are the ones who accept discomfort as part of the process. They don't see sacrifice as suffering. They see it as preparation. While others avoid pain, they absorb it. While others complain, they adapt. While others quit, they rise. That is the difference. Every great story is built on sacrifice. Every empire, every legacy, every revolution began with someone who gave up comfort in the short term to build something eternal in the long term. They said no to convenience so they could say yes to mastery. They said no to fitting in so they could rise above. And now their names are written in chapters others only read. You must choose. Are you here to blend in or stand out? Are you here to feel good or to become great? You can't have both. Sacrifice comfort today, and one day you will wake up in the future you used to dream about the life you want is already possible. It exists, but it's on the other side of hard work. It's on the other side of sacrifices no one else sees. It's on the other side of all the nights you show up when you don't feel like it, and every time you do, you get closer. Every time you deny comfort, you gain control. Every time you choose the path of discomfort, you increase your capacity for greatness. This is how it's done. This is how it's always been done. No shortcuts, no excuses, just sacrifice, just discipline. Just the unshakable decision that greatness will be yours because you paid the price no one else was willing to pay. No discipline, no direction. No direction, no destiny. It's that simple. Without discipline, life becomes noise. You move, but you go nowhere. You wake up, but you achieve nothing. You start things, but you finish nothing. You have energy, but no aim. And that is how people waste years, drifting, distracted, deceived into thinking motion is progress. Discipline isn't just a habit. It's the compass that gives your life structure. It tells you where to go, how to move, and what to ignore. It eliminates confusion. It clarifies your mission. And without it, even the most talented mind collapses under the weight of wasted potential. People don't fail because they lack dreams. They fail because they lack direction. And direction only comes when discipline is present. Discipline takes your goals and carves a path through chaos. It silences the noise, shatters distraction, and forces your focus toward what actually matters. When you're disciplined, you don't need 100 plans. You need one. And you stay with it. You refine it. You execute it without emotion. That's how empires are built, through patient, disciplined movement in one direction over time. The undisciplined chase everything. The disciplined chase one thing until it's theirs without direction. Life becomes a reaction. You respond to the day instead of commanding it. You wait for motivation instead of manufacturing results. You get pulled into gossip, drama, distractions, things that feel urgent but are empty. But direction anchored in discipline means you know who you are and what you're after. You move with intention. You walk away from the unnecessary. You ignore the crowd. You don't need validation because your discipline fuels your certainty. And with that certainty, you become unstoppable. Not because you're louder, faster, or stronger, but because you're focused. And focus beats chaos every single time. The undisciplined life is expensive. It costs you time. It costs you energy. It costs you opportunities you didn't even realize were passing you by. But the most expensive cost is that it keeps you average. Average in thought, average in results, average in how you show up. Discipline doesn't tolerate average. Discipline demands evolution. It stretches you, pushes you, breaks you when needed, and rebuilds you sharper. It doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care what you did yesterday. It demands consistency today, because greatness doesn't care about your potential. It respects only execution. No discipline, no boundaries, no self-respect. You become vulnerable to every distraction, every emotion, every opinion. The world owns your attention because you don't. But when you have discipline, you become the gatekeeper of your time, your energy, your life. You choose what enters and what stays out. You stop apologizing for your standards. You stop justifying your grind. Because you're not chasing approval, you're building legacy. And legacy doesn't come from comfort. It comes from structure. It comes from commitment. It comes from knowing what matters. And cutting away what doesn't. Direction doesn't show up by accident. It is forged in stillness, in clarity, in sacrifice. It requires you to stop numbing yourself with noise and start confronting the truth that you are not owed a great life. You must construct one. And the only way to build it is to act like your time matters, to wake up with discipline and attack your vision even when no one is watching, especially when no one is watching. The world loves the disciplined. It may resist you at first. It may misunderstand your focus, mock your routines, question your choices, but eventually it will kneel to your results. Discipline gives you the power to delay what feels good for what creates greatness. It teaches you to endure when it's boring, to push when it's heavy, to persist when it's quiet. Most people only move when it's exciting, but excitement fades. The disciplined are immune to the weather of emotions. They work when it's raining, they work when it's cold, they work when it's lonely. Because the destination is not optional, because they've seen what's possible and they've decided it will be theirs, no matter what it takes. Discipline eliminates options, so destiny can be fulfilled. A man or woman without direction is a leaf in the wind, moved by every breeze, never rooted, never growing. But the disciplined stand like mountains. They choose a path and walk it with conviction, and with each step their confidence compounds. With each sacrifice, their strength multiplies. With each obstacle, their edge sharpens. Because they know discipline is not about pain, it's about power. The power to govern yourself, the power to shape your days, the power to become something few ever will, the power to live by principle instead of pressure. You want destiny? Then take control of your direction. You want direction? Then master your discipline. Every goal you've written down, every dream you've dared to imagine is possible, but only if your behavior matches your vision. You don't need more inspiration. You need more structure. You need less talking and more doing, less hoping and more planning, less wishing and more working. Discipline is the answer. Direction is the path. Destiny is the reward. You don't drift to greatness. You march there, intentionally, relentlessly, day after day, whether it's easy or not, whether you feel like it or not. You do it because it must be done, and you're the one willing to do it. Winners train their minds like athletes train their bodies. They don't leave their mental strength to chance. They don't hope to be resilient. They build resilience through repetition, through discipline, through focused inner work. Just like an athlete doesn't skip workouts, a winner doesn't skip the hard thoughts. They face them. They shape them. They dominate them. The mind is a battlefield, and those who ignore it become slaves to their emotions. But those who train it, relentlessly, intentionally, obsessively, become unshakable. They know that victories in life are first won in thought before they are won in reality. You don't get strong by thinking soft. You don't get focused by feeding your mind with noise and distraction. Winners treat their mindset like a sacred space. They guard it from garbage. They feed it with clarity, challenge, and truth. They rehearse success in their thoughts before it ever shows up in their results. While others entertain themselves into mediocrity, winners condition their minds to stay sharp, calm, and locked in. They understand that every weakness in the mind will eventually show up in their habits. So they root it out, they replace it. They build a mental foundation that cannot be shaken by failure or fear. Most people train their bodies for a look. Winners train their minds for an outcome. They don't care about appearance, they care about dominance. Mental dominance, emotional discipline, focus under fire. While others panic, they stay composed. While others doubt, they believe. While others quit, they recalibrate and go again. That's not luck, that's not personality, that's training. You build a strong mind the same way you build a strong body. Repetition, pressure, consistency, and the refusal to let weakness stay in control. You don't get a powerful mind by hoping for it. You earn it by going to war with your excuses and walking out with clarity. Winners program their thoughts the same way an athlete programs their movements, with detail, with intention, with relentless repetition. They visualize not only success, but obstacles and their responses to those obstacles. They train for failure the way a fighter trains for punches, because they know the fight isn't won when it's easy. It's won when it's chaos and the old you wants to break. That's where mindset wins. That's where toughness is born. Every time you say no to distraction, every time you push through doubt, every time you perform under pressure, you are lifting the weights of the mind. Weak minds break in silence. They collapse when no one's watching. But a trained mind endures in private so it can conquer in public. Winners rehearse hard situations before they happen. They don't pray for easy. They prepare for hard. They've been there in their minds 1,000 times before, and when the moment arrives, they don't flinch, because they already built the strength to face it. Mental conditioning isn't optional if you want to win. It's the foundation. And without that foundation, talent crumbles. Drive burns out. confidence evaporates. But with a trained mind, even an average person can produce elite results. You want to rise? Train your mind. Start your day with intention, not impulse. Choose your thoughts like you. Choose your nutrition. Speak with clarity. Act with certainty. Reject the garbage that keeps you weak. Winners don't tolerate negative self-talk. They don't accept disorganization in their focus. They run drills on their beliefs. They correct their language. They audit their inputs. You can't build a lion's mind while feeding it with sheep's content. You must consume discipline. You must breathe focus. You must decide that every thought must serve the mission, or it gets deleted. A strong body without a strong mind is a liability. It looks powerful but falls under stress. The mind is the command center. When it's disciplined, the body follows. The action follows. The life changes. Winners know this. That's why they meditate with the same intensity that others lift weights. That's why they journal like athletes track reps. That's why they visualize their goals with the same fire that others use to chase attention. They've decided their mind is the machine, and it will be tuned, sharpened, and forged until it's unbreakable training. The mind isn't glamorous. It's lonely. It's silent. It's the brutal work of confronting your fears, upgrading your beliefs, deleting your excuses, and demanding more of yourself without applause. But that's where the real victories are won. The world doesn't see the mental reps. They only see the results. But the winners know. They know that the sharpness of the mind determines the strength of the outcome. And they refuse to leave it untrained. They refuse to give it to the world unguarded. They armor it with discipline, steel it with perspective, and aim it with ruthless clarity. You are either training your mind or being trained by the world. You are either building inner control or giving it away to every emotion, every opinion, every distraction. Winners don't leave their mindset up to the environment. They dictate it. They lead it. They sharpen it daily. Because they understand that a trained mind will outlast talent, outwork passion, and outperform motivation every time. The mind is the battlefield. And the one who wins it before the day begins, the one who shows up with mental strength already locked in, is the one who walks away with the victory. So decide now, will you train your mind like a champion or let it atrophy like the masses? Will you build the discipline to think with purpose or drift with the weak? You don't need another excuse, another delay, another distraction. You need command. You need focus. You need the relentless choice to master your inner world until nothing external can shake you. Because when the mind is trained, the body follows, the action follows, the results follow, and so does the life you've always claimed to want. Winners are not born. They are built, one mental rep at a time.